That's now 85 as an average, right? For a woman, it was older. I can't exactly remember. I think it was what was that? Extra 5 years, right? That's getting up to the 90s now, and we're getting better. Like we're us human are really working that out. We're working out how to live longer and be healthier, and we're getting smarter about it. So that's a toughie. You know, plan for 85 and into 95. Now 50 grand, an extra you live another 10 years. Where are you going to find that money from? Or are you going to do what? Are you going to do what 80% of people do there? They live off a pension. And has anyone put your hand up if you know someone on a pension living somewhere? Right. Quite a few of you. Okay. Ask them the questions. How things going? Ask them. You know, there's a lady died the other day. She couldn't put her heater on. She was scared to put her heater on in her house. Okay, she died. Now, okay, it's the extreme. I'm not here for extremes, but it's true. Okay. It is a very, very, very scary thing. They can't eat meat. You know, who knows what a kilo of meat costs? You know, Scotch fillet. It's almost $40 a kilo. I remember buying that at $8 a kilo. That's crazy. It's crazy. You can't buy a piece of steak. Like that's pension. Okay, that's actually a fact. It's a fact of life. So we've really got to watch that. The other is the rest of the world. Like you've got some people who are living at the green one is the self retirees, which is 15%, and then you've got people who self-manage their own self-managed super funds, and then you've got the rich, okay, which is the blue, which is very rare, okay, and they're completely independent. Look, we've gone into this, the tax benefit of buying property, as Jason mentioned. It's about getting your tax income down as well. It's about paying less tax. Let's remember that. It's a strategy to pay less tax. Forget about all the capital growth and all those fantastic things that Jason mentioned. Just reducing your tax is a great strategy. And obviously, and we'll go into that in a second as well. What's going on here? Here's a little graph of 1998, and it's not that far. We'll remember 1998 to 2000. Well, it's only 2010, so keep going up. Who bought a house from around? Oh, tell me. Put up the hand when I volunteer of when they bought their first house. Anybody? How old were you? 2000. How much did you pay for it? 232. And what would it be worth today?
I don't have it now, but I think it's about 700.
Gone up. Yeah. Yes?
I bought my first house when I was 27.
Yes.
I bought it, but we were in the UK then, so I bought it for £30,000.
Yes.
And we sold it when we moved here 9 years ago
Yes.
for 210,000.
Oh, there you go.
So in 15 years it had gone up, 170,000.
Yeah. Anybody else like to volunteer? Who did you buy your first house? Tony, who did you buy your first house?
First house?
Yeah.
Jeps Cross.
How much did you pay for it?
65,000.
What's it worth today?
No, I got rid of it quite a few years ago.
Yeah, just
sold
roughly.
about 230.
Would it be
Worth about 10 years.
worth 230 today?
Yeah.
Right, so it's doubled, right? So what they say, 10, 15, you're going to double your investment.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of people say the rule is every 10 years the property doubles. Rule of thumb.
10 to 15.
Yeah. The way the economy is, do you think it's going to double in the next 10 years? If you buy a property today?
I don't know, do you want to read that and tell me what you think?
I'm sorry, it's hard reading your writing. It's
No, that's okay.
It's very hard to read it, yeah.
I can give you 200 years of history, right?
Yeah.
And it all says yes.
Yeah.
Now, let me say that, right? And I'm not putting my name to that,
Okay.
of course, but for the last 200 years, property has gone up, okay? It's just a fact of life, right? And they're saying the average of all that data is saying between 10 and 15, depending which, I'm talking about which snapshot you want to take of which cycle, it catches up. It catches up. So remember I said in the 90s I bought a property, for 10 years I didn't have any growth. I actually had a little bit of negative growth, right? And I went, oh my God, you know, a young fella, you know, I believe in all this stuff, you know? Huh? Insane? Oh my God. And I thought, that house is worth, you know, unbelievable amount of money. It's tripled, that house, right? But, you know, so that was, you know, that's, what I'm saying is that you've got to believe in economy, because the government, the economy, they all work this out, okay? Interest rates, CPI, all this is all, it's a matter of, you know, what happening around the world, wars, all these things. It has to happen because there has to have movement. And no, they don't. These economists, they know how to boost things up. They all want to make money too. Well, believe me. So really, really powerful. So just imagine if you bought 3 of those, Tony, or 4 of those when you were a young fella, which you could have. How much money would you have today? You know, you'd be pretty set, I reckon. Right? You know, great interest rate, great. That's how you build a portfolio. But just get in there. You have to get in there and just sit and wait. And it could be 20 years, it could be 15 years. It will happen. But forget about the capital growth for a second. You've got all your tax advantages. You know, there's a lot of other benefits. So here's the cycle. This is the cycle. I went and saw it. It's called Wilson. It's the Wilson curve. He's actually an economist for Domain Real Estate. We flew to Sydney and I went and saw this guy. Just wanted to find out what such a big resourceful company has got every sale ever known to man in their portfolio of, you know, their statistics. They know everything. They know what age groups are hitting. They know everything. They're an unbelievable power. So this is their commons. So they make all their data. And when I went there, we looked at every state. We looked at the performance of every state. And this is, he loved Adelaide. He said it's safe and steady. Right? So that's how he said. He says Adelaide, you just sit and you wait, safe and steady. He said other, you know, and this is what he's saying. This is the Wilson curve. It goes up, it corrects itself, it goes down, it recovers, it expands, it goes up, and that's what happens. And it's the same thing. This is basically saying what the average prices are in the area at the time that he did this. Adelaide's safe and steady, it's still affordable, you know, and that's just true data. I'm not going to go into this, but this is how far we go into the data. So we try to get a real grasp of what the individual wants. So we know everything's, you know, we can get any statistic of any suburb of what's happening. If you go through, I'm not going to go through these now, but you know, some have had negative growth. Some have had 12, what we say, some have had 12%, some have had 20% growth, okay? Now, that's pretty cool to buy a property and you get 20% growth, right? Some have got 10, some 5s, you know, so there's plenty of there, and you know, we do have a good knowledge of what's happening in the state. We need to, okay, because that's what we do. But in saying that, don't get too precious about that, because it doesn't matter if it's Elizabeth or it's Huntfield Heights or it doesn't matter where it is. Everything's relevant to the price you're paying for it, and if every area goes up. It's just the way it works. You know, I know millionaires that have purchased in Elizabeth. As an example, there's nothing wrong with Elizabeth. Got Blake's Crossing. It's a beautiful place now, right? It's still a good place to live. They're almost still making money there. So it doesn't matter where you are, right? And then there's we call blue chip areas, and it's only because we're a bit toffee. You know, we like the areas around here. It's still affordable. The Marions and the Seacliffs and all this around here. You know, Western and the Southern's becoming closer. You know, it's they're all areas are good reliable areas. But north south, still very very reliable. You know, you could buy one in Glenelg, or you could buy 2 at Seaford Meadows, and you sit down with Jason and work out. You know, if they both perform at the same yields, what would happen? I think you'd be better off buying 2 at Seaford Meadows by a long shot. So. This is another thing. This is basically his barometer, basically saying this is his forecast that Adelaide's at that 4%, which is about right. And then look, safe and steady. He said you're not going to go wrong with Adelaide. Stick to Adelaide. If you want to take some risks, go to Sydney, but you've got to have the budget for it. Okay? And that's the thing. and you will take a risk because you don't know when you're retiring, when you're going to sell it. So it's about timing. Remember this stuff that we were talking about, Tony, it's about timing. It could be 10 years, could be 2 years, could be 20 years, right? But it will happen. The peak and trough will happen. It's a matter of timing. And some people are lucky than others, I know, but you've got to be in it to win it, and you will win at some point. You will, if you stay there long enough. And that could be tomorrow, that could be any time. So these are the things that make great properties go up. It's the economies, employment, the incomes, population growth, prosperity, confidence, house prices. You know, they're the things that all combined is what makes a great thing. There's the Wilson curve, right? See how the Wilson curve is going up and down, but it's always on the up? I don't know if you've noticed that. Even when it's going down, it's going up. So that's the Wilson curve. Another little thing, Gold Invest, the reason Gold Invest got its name is because we're very, very focused on people having clear and defined goals. Okay? Because if you haven't got clear and defined goals, if you don't know how you're going to get there, if you're not planning somewhere, you don't know how you're going to get there. You just saying, I'll buy this and I'll do this and I'll try to save some money. It's not going to cut it, guys. You've got to sit down and have a really good plan. You've got to have good, trusted people in your life, a good accountant, a good financial planner, a good property guy, good loans guy. That's what they specialise in. Join forces with them and ask as many questions as you can so you're in a position to really start planning your lives and get serious about it. Because the quicker you do it, the easier life will be. I can tell that by experience. You can look at all your past people that are sitting back pretty now. They've done the hard yards. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be, there's ways of doing it. There's properties out there that can suit your risk profile. So having goals, and we do have a very, very big structure on goals, and we go through that. We also have got these very extensive reports, which we love working with finance brokers, finance planners and also accountants. We work with them. We ask them to change any of the information that's in there if they want us to change that, because that does has tax, the tax they pay. It does have deductions. It does has everything, right? It tells you how much it's going to cost. It tells you when it's positive, when it's going to be positive one day. It's going to tell you how much that property is going to be worth in 2, 3, 4, 10 years, right? So you can do some planning, because that's a hard thing to work out. But I've got it on a spreadsheet, okay? And we sit down with you and we really, really work out how we're going to do it. Now, we might not be 100% right? Not every plan's go 100% right, but we'll be pretty close, I reckon, okay? But at least you'll be on the right road, and you'll actually have some clear and defined goals to go, hey, here's where that's where I want to go. Not just where I want to go in dream world. This is where I want to go, and this is how I'm going to get there. I start with 1 property. I start with 2. I start with 3. We show you how to do it. We show you. Sometimes it doesn't cost you any money because equity grows in a property, and we show you the lending techniques to go and borrow that money and do it all again. It can be quite easy if you know how. It doesn't have to be a daunting thing. It just have to have, like I said, we know your risk profile, and then we know your income. So that's why I say that. It's how much you can afford. That's what I mean by that. It's how much is it going to cost you, or can it cost you? How much tax deductions? All those things have to be put into place. And this just helps you plan. It ends up being almost a 30-page document. Every single thing you could imagine is in there. We say, please take it to your accountant, please take it to your financial planners or your solicitor, and talk about it. Because it's a talking point of, and quite often the accountants go to us, that's fine, right? Because we're not trying to give final advice. What we're doing is give them a guide to take it to get financial advice. That's what that's for, okay? And you'll quickly find that we can actually do wealth building software that really, really shows you where you're going. They're really important, guys. Why Gold Invest? I think I've basically said that. We are the sister company of Refined Real Estate. Some Refined Real Estate staff here as well. But we've got some dedicated Gold Invest staff which do this. We've met Helen. You've got Peter at the back room. myself, and you've got some refined staff here. You've got Anthony and